Mainstream media, mass media, that's a little bit more appropriate, is big shook as the goings on at Disney. Here you have another article, a more recent interview of Nelson Peltz, the activist investor who's trying to overthrow Bob Iger and, I don't know, return Disney to being a profitable and palatable entertainment company. Very nefarious actions he's trying to undertake. But the Financial Times did this, what was presented as an interview, and then just ended up turning into a hit piece because they gave the inside scoop to Disney that they could go ahead and use as marketing in order to dissuade stockholders from voting in Nelson Peltz's favor to go ahead and give him and his disciple a board seat at Disney in order to, I don't know, right that burning and sinking ship. Well, let's read some of this before we get into a summation, because there's only so much Financial Times that I can go ahead and stomach. But the way that they present this, okay, just from the headline and from the byline, kind of lets you know the tone and tenor that this is going to take. Investor Nelson Peltz: I'm not trying to fire Bob Iger. I want to help him, the billionaire, on the fight to fix Disney, keeping politics out of the boardroom, and why he's backing Trump again. Oh, look at, he wants to say that Bob Iger is this bad guy, but look at his hypocrisy. He wants to keep politics out of the boardroom, but he's all about supporting Donald Trump. Yeah, as you can see, this is not exactly going to be the fairest of interviews, but scooching ahead a little bit, okay, because I've laid it out in previous videos. Nelson Peltz, major shareholder at Disney, is tired of seeing his stock go absolutely through the floor because Bob Iger just simply announces projects, never follows through with them, gets into unwinnable legal battles, and just overall tanks the reputation of the company. He would like to go ahead and see that, somewhat corrected. I know, right? Peltz insists he's not an activist investor. I wanted to invest in companies that are good companies, but they're just sort of missing it a little bit. That's still the attitude, which, yeah, Disney, it's very much intrinsic to a lot of people's childhoods, mine included. And, well, they've been around for, a century. And for the most part, they've been, right at the forefront doing the greatest stuff possible. Thankfully, all of that stuff, generally speaking, remains unmolested. But in recent years, in the past 10 or so years, that seem to very easily coincide with Bob Iger and his regime, there's been more misfires and brain synapses between Joe Biden's ears. This neatly segues into Disney, where Peltz has been on a warpath. Disney is stupid because I'm not trying to fire Bob Iger. No, I want to help him. We don't fire CEOs. By now, our main course had arrived. Yeah, they're talking about this. The way that it's written makes me want to shoot myself in the head, but just in Minecraft, right? Trinian, his investment firm, unveiled the $2.5 billion stake in Disney in January of 2023, criticizing, among other things, the company's $71 billion acquisition of 21st Century Fox in 2017, which is not turning a profit at all whatsoever. But hey, they got X-Men back under the banner, right? That's great. You got all of those 20th Century Fox properties. You got FX. It's great. That saddled it with debt. Yeah, it's almost like, wow, Bob Iger's making some really stupid investment decisions. Probably should stop doing that. Oh, he wants to overthrow the company and turn it into Trump's playpen. It's like, oh, okay, cool. But Peltz called off the proxy fight a month later. This was back, yes, in January of 2023. It's obviously reignited now during a awful time for Disney. However, after growing impatient with the lack of progress in November, much to Disney's consternation, Peltz revived his campaign for board seats. Trinian currently controls a Disney stake of around $3.5 billion. Disney said that Peltz has not presented a single strategic idea to the company during 2 years of campaigning for board seats. Yeah, right, exactly. Because it's incumbent on him to go ahead and play his hand, right? But the things that Disney are really taking offense to is what was revealed in that interview. Why do I have to have another Marvel movie that's all women? This is what's making the rounds, not the fact that, yeah, I'm going to criticize some of the business goings on. No, he's a racist and a sexist. Right, sure. Disney is stupid because I'm not trying to fire the chief executive. Yeah, Bob Iger, I want to help him, right? Peltz hit back at the time. They say we know nothing about the movie business. We don't claim we do, but I don't think they do. They have 5 big losers in a row. They just lost first place in animation. They've lost first place in features. Now, is that something that you need to have first-hand information of the movie-making business in order to figure out, or is that just something that you can look at, just in a dollars and cents perspective and go, yeah, something something needs to change around here because you guys, you kind of lost your top spot when it was yours to lose. Maybe it's time to change management in those divisions. Too woke. In comments, we're sure the left will seize on, which we've seen the response from Disney. The billionaire investor then criticized Disney for pushing woke messaging as opposed to simply making great content. People go to watch a movie or a show to be entertained. They don't go to get a message. Exactly. Doesn't that sound like just an honest interpretation of the entertainment industry? No? Oh, okay. Elaborating further, Peltz asked, why do I have to have a Marvel movie, right, that's all women? Not that I have anything against women, but why do I have to have that? Why can't I have a Marvels that are both? Why do I need an all-black cast referring to Black Panther? You can see, and what is emphasized there, what's getting the traction in the mass media. Disney proxy fight is not nearing its end, a shareholder vote scheduled for April 3rd, which is why we're seeing the hot and heavy coverage break down right now. Both sides have been publicized their support they've receiving from others in the business world. Iger has been endorsed by JP Morgan and Chase, CEO Jamie Dimon, dang, filmmaker George Lucas, dang, and Laurel Powell Jobs. I think that's a trifecta, right? The widow of Apple Inc.'s, Steve Jobs, and a large Disney shareholder. I don't know what she has to do with anything, but all right. Meanwhile, a group of current and former directors of firms, including Modella's International, Procter & Gamble Company, and Janus Henderson Group PLC, this week co-signed a letter in support for Peltz. But yeah, we know that, Nelson Peltz and, his partner in crime, Ike Perlmutter, are Trump supporters, okay? I don't really know why that has to play into it, but of course we're talking about leftist media, and they're going to run on anything that they can possibly find. And as you can see with this a little demonstrative that Disney put up on their Walt Disney Company page, citing specifically the Financial Times article, which kind of lets me know before I even seen the source document, this graphic was already up. So yeah, somebody's working hand in glove with a certain party, but find this to be very elucidating. Nelson Peltz demonstrates again how ill-equipped he is to serve on Disney's board. Straight propaganda coming out of the Walt Disney Company on Marvel's unparalleled success. How's that success looking recently? I'm not ready to say that Kevin Feige should be fired, but I question his record. Well, yeah, because he took full control of the MCU after Civil War. Now, I could hear some arguments for Infinity War being better, but anything after that, can you inarguably say, has the quality dipped since Kevin Feige has been in charge? Sure, financially, obviously Infinity War and Endgame were massive hits, but anything outside of that? And then, yeah, just put that into crystal clear focus. You have Captain Marvel and the Marvels, and like I said, you knew exactly what sound bites they were going to pounce on. Why do I have to have a Marvel? Oh, that's all women. Not that I have anything against women, but here it is with emphasis again. Why do I have to have that? But Captain Marvel and the Marvels made $1.3 billion in global box office. Care to break that down as to which, how that total was come to? What was it? 1.1. Yeah, 1.1 billion for Captain Marvel. Something that, was a part of, Kevin Feige's release schedule, but he had just assumed the reins at that point in time. But how well did the Marvels do? How big was that drop off? Was it something like $900 million? Oh, right. Yeah, don't look at that. But then, Black Panther. Oh, yes, a Black Panther to Wakanda Forever. The exact same thing. Why do I need an all-black cast? Well, because, the Black Panther 1 that was released in Black History Month of 2018 was the blackest movie to ever black, and the first time that we could ever see black people on the screen. It was a cultural event, and if you had the audacity to criticize that film, you were a goddamn bigot and a racist, okay? But does anybody even remember that Wakanda 2 Black Panther Boogaloo it came out a couple of years ago? Was that November of 2022? How much did that make? Right, a fraction, half of what the original made. Oh, right, yeah. So it's almost like you have these films that were released at a point in time when the MCU was incredibly successful, and then their follow-ups to billion-dollar movies didn't even come close to sniffing that same level of success. Who could you point to that distinctive drop in quality, huh? Interesting that you'd want to point this stuff out. And then on allegations, he's a bully. What sense is being a billionaire if you're not a bully? Not giving context as to when that was said, who said that, but I'll just go ahead and take it at face value. He's a proud billionaire. He's a bully. Yes, the rest of this propaganda. Imagine the damage Peltz would do to a Disney boardroom with these perspectives. What, wanting quality films, quality entertainment, wanting to see a company turn a profit? Yeah, that's a lot of damage, I guess. Disney believes several things that should be abundantly clear to shareholders after reading Peltz's lunch with the Financial Times. Peltz, including his silent partner Ike Perlmutter, would harm Disney and jeopardize our strategic transformation from a company that was winning to a company that's losing. Well, I guess that is strategic in a certain sense. Peltz brings no additive skills to the board except for his ability to turn around failing companies. Right, yeah, no, of course. Doesn't understand our business and has no plan to create shareholder value. Right, he has no plan to do it because he hasn't given us any free unsolicited advice. Right. One of Peltz's ideas to establish a bureaucratic board-led review of the creative process and structure. Wasn't it Bob Iger who came out and remarking on the lack of success that the Marvels had was mostly due to a lack of studio oversight? But Peltz is a bad guy because he wants studio oversight. Weird. The surest way to impede our creative progress is oversight from an 81-year-old hedge fund manager, but it's so much better when it's a 79-year-old weatherman. Feige has an unparalleled track record at Marvel. Well, yeah, nobody has been at the front of a company that made as much money and then also lost as much money and maintained employment. Sans Kathleen Kennedy, and who also employs her? Anyways, generating $30 billion in global box office. Oh, no. You're letting a lot of the other projects that he had nothing to do with do a lot of the heavy lifting there, making him the highest grossing producer of all time. And that's another reason why Kathleen Kennedy, because she'll get all the success for Star Wars, okay, just heaped onto her resume the same way that Kevin Feige gets all the success of, guys like Ike Perlmutter helped set up over at Marvel. This is what we're dealing with when it comes to Disney. Part of me really hopes that Disney can go ahead and right the ship because, yeah, they're the biggest fish in the pond. They have the most money at the dispense. They have a lot of your favorite IPs that are out there. And yes, I would like to, in my lifetime, see the House of Mouse return to its former glory. But then, aping something that Gary from Nerdrotic has popularized, I would also like to see Bob Iger get everything that he wants just to see this thing driven completely and totally into the ground. Have somebody come along, because anybody, a random bum off the street, could probably run Disney better than those non-stock having asses in the boardroom right now. Take a look at their stock portfolio. There's a distinct lack of Disney stock in those coffers. You see how well they've all run the company right now. So go ahead, give them everything that they want. Give them full and total stock and shareholder confidence. You go ahead and do that, and we'll just see how terrible this stuff gets, because now we're starting to see a public, a normie audience take a look at anything that has a Disney logo at the front of it and then just turn the other direction. So go ahead, give Bob Iger everything that he wants. If this is what you want to go out there and put to the public, even though they can see directly through it, you deserve every failing that you're setting yourself up for. So I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.